10 most depressing cities in Europe. The idea that a part of Europe, the continent of great culture, exquisite fashion, delectable cuisine, and a history stretching back centuries can be depressing is almost inconceivable. Yet there are some depressing cities on the continent. Let's take a look at the 10 most depressing cities in Europe. However, this list is not meant to portray any of those cities, their inhabitants, and the countries of their location in any bad light. It's just for education and information purposes. 10. Pristina, Kosovo. We begin in this capital of Kosovo, a technically disputed area but believed to be a de facto autonomous nation in southeastern Europe. Kosovo announced its independence from Serbia in February 2008, following a series of frequent violent engagements that lasted many years. Despite strong Serbian resistance, the UN today recognizes Kosovo as a distinct entity known as the Republic of Kosovo. But that independence is not without a huge price. Terrorism has become the order of the day in most parts of Kosovo, including its capital city of Pristina. That's why visitors are hesitant to visit the city or anywhere near it. The threat of violence and extremism is getting greater in Kosovo. Pristina is certainly a depressing city. 9. Sarajevo, Bosnia. Sarajevo, the capital of Bosnia and Herzegovina, is another one of the most depressing cities in Europe. Sarajevo is one of the most historically intriguing cities in Europe. It is historically unstable. Just as it is in the rest of Bosnia and Herzegovina, minefields, undetonated bombs and explosive remnants from the Yugoslav wars are everywhere in Sarajevo and its surrounding suburbs. This poses a significant threat to the public. Keep in mind that the places that have not been cleaned out are denoted by yellow caution tape or warning signs. Pickpockets are a common sight in this city. They're very active, especially on public transportation and in the city's historic district. It's a city with a history of ravaging war, which makes it a depressing city. 8. Lodz, Poland. Lodz is Poland's third largest city and a major industrial hub, with a population of 672,185 people. The city has long been known for its textile industry. The city of Lodz serves as the administrative center of the Lodzki voivodeship. It's listed among the most depressing cities in Europe due to issues relating to robbery, automobile theft, car break-ins, car snatchings, and vandalism, as well as insults, among other things. Bribery is a minor but noticeable issue in Lodz. A typical heist used by criminals is to work in gangs and create artificial crowds on public transportation, such as buses and trams, in order to divert their victims' attention before picking their pockets. Also, don't leave your stuff unattended and keep your eyes on your wallet when you're not using it. Crime is what makes Lodz a miserable place to live. 7. Kouvola, Finland. Kouvola is a little town nestled between two major cities. It's a little more than an hour to Helsinki and 2 hours to St. Petersburg. Even if you can view the majestic Pojola building via the train glass, you won't be able to see any of Kouvola's 450 lakes or the river Kaimijoki from the train window. Kouvola is usually considered a safe city, yet it has a melancholy atmosphere because the people who live here are fairly cautious in their interactions with nature. Don't get me wrong, not everyone is like this, and you may come across folks who are upbeat and pleasant, but it does make the overall atmosphere a bit depressing most times. 6. Katowice, Poland. Katowice is hardly the most beautiful city in the world, but something good is in the city. Historically, it has served as the capital of Upper Silesia, as well as a geographic center of the Silesian metropolis. There are petty crimes, such as pickpocketing, in this city. Victims, mostly travelers, are targeted at bars or restaurants. One of the most serious threats in Silesia and in Poland as a whole is posed by groups of inebriated football hooligans who can readily be avoided, as you can hear them approaching from about a mile away. Finally, foreign men should be wary of young women who show an excessive amount of interest in them. They often entice, seduce, and lure them to shady nightclubs that they don't know. There the men would be intimidated into paying for highly inflated drink charges by thuggish bouncers. 5. Gelsenkirchen, Germany. Gelsenkirchen, a city in the center of the German state of Ruhr, is another depressing city in Europe. Because of coal mining, the Ruhr region was formerly known as Germany's industrial powerhouse. During World War II, the region was heavily bombed because of its high industrial value. After the war, coal mining was severely reduced and the region experienced a significant increase in unemployment. Pickpockets and drunken vandals are commonly seen in railway stations, districts with a high concentration of bars and visitors, and public parks. Some others consider it fun to hurl rocks at police officers. During a soccer match, sports bars can also be volatile. You may be beaten simply because you are caught wearing a jacket or shirt with the same colour as the colour of a team that is defeating their favourite team. 4. Usti nad Labem, Czech Republic. Usti nad Labem, a city near the Czech-German border, is another depressing city in Europe. According to the Crime Prevention Index, the CPI, an assessment of the prevalence of crimes such as pickpocketing, sexual assault, violence, the crime rate in Usti nad Labem is 29.71 per 100 people. The safety rating for the city is 74.89 out of 100. This shows the levels of security and the sense of personal safety felt by the inhabitants, visitors and tour guides. That indicates that the neighbourhood is generally safe, with low crime rates. However, you should always follow safety procedures and be on the lookout for pickpockets when in a busy area. Also, if you are unsure about the safety of the neighbourhood, talk to the people who live there. 3. Ijmuiden, Netherlands. Ijmuiden is a harbour town in the Kennemerland area of North Holland. It is a village in the municipality of Belgium, which also contains the villages of Sandpoort and Driehuis. The municipality has around 60,000 residents and 30,000 of them reside in Ijmuiden. Although the crime rate in Ijmuiden is quite low, there's one major source of concern. People who live in the Tata Steel area of Ijmuiden is exposed to a higher level of hazardous pollutants. The level of lead is so high that it's dangerous for the health of the local population, surpassing the health-based limit. This is true for polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons as well as other hydrocarbons. The dust from Wick and Z included about 900 times the amount of vanadium, 160 times the amount of manganese, and 150 times the amount of iron found in the dust from outside the Ijmuiden. These extreme amounts of industrial pollution make Ijmuiden a miserable city. 2. Charleroi, Belgium. In Charleroi, a town of 200,000 people located 40 miles south of Brussels, there are gloomy housing complexes and shuttered businesses. The city is currently grappling with a staggering 30% unemployment rate as well as alarming levels of criminal activity. It is truly one of the most depressing cities in Europe. 2 of the 5 metro lines intended to service the city are never completed due to funding issues. Vandals, self-styled graffiti artists and addicts congregated ghost stations that have been abandoned for years. Several bridges and thoroughfares can suddenly terminate in the midst of nowhere, which is yet another example of administrative stupidity. They were constructed and subsequently decommissioned only for the purpose of dispersing the federal subsidies that had been allocated. Overall, it's a depressing place that you should avoid visiting, if at all possible. 1. Norilsk, Russia. Norilsk was established in 1935 as a gulag, and it swiftly developed to become the biggest metropolis north of the Arctic Circle, with over 180,000 permanent residents and an additional 50,000 temporary residents as of the 2010 census. During the winter, the temperature might plummet to below -58 degrees Fahrenheit and remain so for weeks. After a particularly frigid stretch of -58 degrees, the temperature shot up to -4 degrees for a brief period, and it seems that the people saw it as a thaw. The city and its inhabitants have to deal with some of the most extreme weather conditions on the globe. As a result of the terrible weather, you could find this city to be a little too dreary and add it to the most depressing cities in Europe. There's something making these the most miserable cities in Europe. If it's not the high level of crime in the city, it would be the extreme weather. In some cases, it's the general nature of the people. If you feel that we have missed any city, feel free to mention it in the comments section below. Thank you for watching this video. Goodbye and stay safe. This is Learning Canteen.